breakfast brought to you by Quailib Incuba.
Hapo tuko vizuri sana, tukaparo motorbikes pia ako FA Nakuru hapa tu. Nasema ako free area Nakuru bana. Ushaenda free area wewe? Nishaendaga free area bwana. Nishaenda free area siku moja, nilikuwa niko town alafu nikaona sio mbaya kabisa bana niingie FA kidogo nitafute msosi nini haraka sana sababu tuko live na maisha unacheki. Nikaingia FA haraka sana. Kuna mamangu fulani ambaye I don't know venye free area iko saizi, but kuna supermarket fulani ambayo ilikuwaga iko mahali fulani. I don't know, sikumbuki jina lakini iko FA kabisa. Alafu hapo kuna kama kuna kisoko. East side watu wanatengeneza manguo, viatu.
I want to recommend very highly Quailib to every youth out there who has an idea that they want to bring on board. This is a place where you'll be incubated, so to say. You, irrespective of how rugged you feel your idea is, you come to this place and we will continuously work on you to make sure that the idea that you have is refined and at least you become the person.
Quailib Incuba. Innovate, invest, incubate. We hustle.
We go through.
Access granted.
We win.
We lose.
Access denied. Access denied. Access denied.
In everything, we dust ourselves.
We are the majority.
You want to tell me just what we're dealing with here?
If you haven't guessed by now, I'll tell you who we are.
It's me. Hi.
We are the empowered youth.
Underground.
And this is our podcast, the EY Podcast.
Let the speakers move.
Go!
Welcome back to our third session for the Campus Agritech Climate Innovation Challenge. Today we are featuring again the Faculty of Agriculture who had requested this session because there are too many. We had so many innovations from their side. That's why we have them on board. So the Campus Agritech Climate Innovation Challenge is a challenge that started as an idea from last year, whereby the team, the Kenya Climate Youth Corps and the Global Climate Innovators, where I'm a founder, went around the country, visited other universities and institutions, identified the core problems within our youths, and then we decided that we should start this challenge from Egerton University so that we can at least have somewhere to start. So from the beginning, we have featured the Faculty of Environment and Resource Development, where I happen to be a graduate from that faculty. As a founder of the Global Climate Innovators, I welcome you to today's session, whereby we'll learn more. So with me today is another set of innovators from the Faculty of Agriculture who are going to introduce themselves, and then we shall see what's next.
Hello everyone. My name is Damaris Njuguna, Faculty of Agriculture. All dear students.
Hello everyone. My name is Damaris Njuguna, Faculty of Agriculture and founder and CEO of Data Shepherd Company. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is David Mungai. I'm agricultural economics, that is the finalist here in Egerton. Basically, my innovation is about AgriDara Foundation, which is acronym for Agricultural Development and Rural Advancement. I'm very glad to be here with you. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Tony Blair. Tony Blair is here to present a project titled Fresh Life Hub, solar-powered cold storage system for small older farmers. Thank you.
Hi, Hi everyone, my name is Agwena Samuel Otieno, co-founder of a project known by Learn to Earn App platform. Thank you.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. So the Canvas Agritech Climate Innovation Challenge is a challenge featuring young innovations under the field of agriculture and climate change, because this is the core problem within our country and the globe at large. So the agriculture has been facing challenges here and there, and many solutions out here seem to bring resilience, but again come up with so many other problems, whereby if innovators are not keen, we should be innovating more problems than the solutions. So under this challenge, it's a challenge which will feature all the faculties in Egerton and will take about a month or so. We shall nurture these young innovations into quality and qualified innovations that at least can be presented in other platforms from here. So we aim to have a common summit, maybe here in Egerton or around somewhere else in the country, whereby after this session, after our mentorships, we shall now move into at least showcasing whatever we have got from this challenge. So going ahead, I'll give the panelists a chance as well, so that they can go deeper into the details of whatever they have for us today, and then we shall continue with the rest. So panelists, you are welcomed.
Thank you. So I'm Damaris Njuguna. And over the recent years, climate change has led to devastated pastoral communities in the northern Kenya, where there has been a lot of high mortality rate on the livestock because there is low rainfall, temperatures have increased, and so as the data shepherd, we came up with a system where it is from the word data shepherd, it is like a technology shepherd where it is guiding the herders, the pastoral communities, on where to take their cattle, their livestock, so that they can get pasture and water. So through this data shepherd, it anchors together a variety of sensors, where these sensors are placed on different lands and they give information. For example, they can sense pasture quality through the multi-spectral sensors, which give the vegetative index of pasture in a certain area. So once they get that this pasture, there is high vegetation index in a certain area, they are going to drive their animals there. Also, there is the water levels. These sensors, like the ultrasonic sensors, they can check the water levels in the water pans and also the boreholes. So this guides the herders to take their animals where the water levels are high, thus preventing animal loss. Also, they can sense the health of animals by embedding tags on the salt flicks of animals, where they can sense the intake of essential minerals into the system of the animals. So once they get this data, they sense the data, they are going to display it on a screen. The screen might be in marketplaces, on cattle centers, where cattle dips, those places where cattle is being taken. So once the information is displayed there, the herders can get to know where they are going to take their animal next. Like for example, they can also use maps. Those maps will be displayed on the screen. For example, if there is high pasture, the pasture on a certain area will able to give all animals and they are going to be fed properly. So the ones with great pasture, they are going to be indicated by green, but the areas where there is stress, it is going to be indicated by red. Thus the herders will not take their animals to those places. So this innovation, it combines low technology. It does not need to have high internet connection for one to get the information. The herders can just send a code for a specific area and they're going to receive information on their mobile phones. You don't need to have a smartphone. You can just use a mobile phone, since it is the pastoral communities in the northeastern Kenya, so they can access access a simple mobile phone and get the information there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you again. My name is David, like I said earlier. I'm the founder of the AgriData Foundation, which is the acronym for Agricultural Development and Rural Advancement. And so, the AgriData is based in Nyandarua County, where all of us, we are familiar with the place. When we talk about Nyandarua, what comes in our mind is about potatoes. And so, we work with small-scale potato farmers in Nyandarua County to ensure that we increase the production, and again, we increase income and ensure environmental sustainability. Number one, when we talk about this Nyandarua place, the reason our target is based in potatoes is because many farmers venture into the potato sector. And so the challenges that these farmers face is, number one, we don't have certified seeds. So they use recycled seeds, which are very vulnerable to diseases, and again, production is very low. Secondly, the information to the market is very minimum, or it is rather limited by the middlemen. And again, we have the issue about chemical overuse. Here we talk about the challenge whereby a research was done by Egerton, which concluded that they found a lot of residues in the potatoes, and this brought about the health issues, and this again brought about market issues to these farmers. And that's why we came with this, rather the organization foundation, to help to solve these issues. Number one, we have what we call digital registry system, and which will be used to help the farmers by giving them the information or the market and the story with certified seeds alerts. So when it comes to the issue of these markets, we want to be telling them in advance of the real-time prices in the market, so that they are not that much manipulated or exploited by the middlemen. Again, in my team, we have agronomists and we have climate specialists, that is from the Department of the Environmental Science. And again, I have an IT guy. So by these guys, we want to integrate this production by helping these farmers. Number one, we want to create what we call the demos. By these demonstrations, we will help to solve the issue with the chemical overuse. This brings the issue of what we call the chemical overuse. And by this, we will provide something we call extension services. When we have demos, we'll be able to prove to them that we have the certified seeds, and through these certified seeds, we'll be able to increase the production in this potato sector. Again, when it comes to story with chemicals, they do use the chemicals in large quantities. When you talk about the post-harvest intervals, whereby they show us the rates. But now, for the farmers, when I went and interviewed, because we've gone and mobilized, and when I was in a bazaar, we had 21 women pioneer farmers from which we mobilized. These farmers, they told us that due to the recycled seeds, now they are very vulnerable to diseases, like I had said earlier. So how do they come about to solve this issue? That's why they come. They overuse these chemicals. They know they are doing the wrong, but they asked me, how can we solve this issue? And that's why they said, we overuse these chemicals to at least be able to cover for the vulnerability of these diseases. And for the fourth issue, we have the story about the agroforestry department. Knowing that we have in the rural sector or areas, we are all aware in the sociology department, we know that rural societies, they are very much into the environment, and that's based in the environment sector. We want to ensure sustainability in the environment sector. By this, we want to ensure that the agroforestry, rather the climate specialist, is able to educate these farmers by showing them the importance of planting these trees. Because number one, we know Nyandarua, the river which feeds the Nairobi city, is from where we are starting our pioneer, or rather pilot stage. So we want to ensure that we don't want to exploit the resources, rather we want to sustain them, and so that we don't create conflicts with the rural areas. And when we come to the story with scalability, we are starting in Nyandarua, to be specific, in a place known as South Kinango, that the ward that is called the Jabini. So by this, we're starting with 100 pioneer farmers. And by these 100 pioneer farmers, we want to ensure that they show the example to other farmers who are in potato industry. And again, when they adapt to it, now we start to scale up to other wards and later to the Nyandarua County as a whole. And from there, we'll now be able to diversify to other counties which we know are based in potato production. Like we can talk about Nakuru, we have Meru. So we'll be able to cover, but we want to start at that small phase. When you talk about now sustainability, we want to ensure that we minimize the cost at every sustainable way we know. So first thing, we want to start with the economies of scale, which we know, like we want to source those certified seeds from the distributors, or rather producers. Like we have the National Potato Council of Kenya, NCPK. When we source those seeds, or rather the Egerton itself, they still produce. So when we source those seeds in bulk, now we can go and sell to the farmers at a lower price margins to ensure that the production is higher. So that's why we started by saying we want to increase the production once, and again we want to increase the income. So when we increase the income, that's where the production comes in. So everyone, like when we talk, we said like 30% in theory. 30% of potato comes from Nyandarua. But when we come to the facts, we find that Njoro, rather in Nakuru County, they have now been able to outsource or outdo the Nyandarua, which is the source and which was the first to produce the potatoes. So now from this sustainability, again, we have the agronomist, like I said. So we want to ensure, rather when we provide these demos, we want to ensure that every farmer gets this education from these demos that we want to create. And again, from these demos is where like we provide the aggregate hubs. When we talk about the marketing, because as we stated earlier, they don't have linkages to market, rather they don't have the information. And the reason for this, we want to remove the exploitation by the middlemen. How do we do this? We talked about the digital registration system and SMSs. So when we collect in bulk from these farmers, how will we do this? So like we said, the demos will help us to be able to aggregate these farmers. So when you send to these farmers these messages, we'll be able like to collect their product, and we'll be able to estimate their product maybe in per hectares or in tonnage, so that we can be able to estimate, like give these estimates to the market, and so that they can be willing to take this product. And again, through this digital registry is where like we'll be able to mobilize these farmers and assure them that there is certainty in believing in this project. Now, from this sustainability and scalability, we want to ensure that we give great impact to the society. So, by number one, when we have provided the scalability, after we've dealt with this scalability, we want to ensure that when the potato sector has now stand for itself, we want to diversify. We want to diversify the enterprises, so that when the farmers, maybe this time they plant potatoes, the next time you find we have like 4 seasons in a year in the Nyandarua County. So by first season, you find it will favor what? It will favor potatoes, and the second month. But when you come to the third and fourth, we want to integrate and now go ahead and provide for the peas and cabbages enterprises. So by this, we'll enable these farmers not only to be vulnerable and desperate to sell their products, but at the same time, they will understand the cycle in the market. And again, we'll be able to provide and improvise well for their produces. Thank you very much.
Okay, like I said earlier, I'm Tony Blair, the co-founder of AgriHub, what we call the Fresh Life Hub, solar-powered cold storage system for smallholder farmers in rural Kenya. So we find that in our rural areas, like we know that the agriculture is the backbone of our economy, and those people or the farmers in the rural areas, we find that they practice agriculture a lot. So the Fresh Life Hub, like I said, when it is constructed, we find that the farmers go through a problem or a challenge of post-harvest losses. So this one may be due to not proper timing for the farmers. They may lack proper decision, what we call the non-proper decision. Then we may also find that the distance from where the crops are being grown to the market, it might be a longer distance. So by the time the goods will reach the market, they may go bad. And again, we can also find that we have poor infrastructure. So before the goods reach market, they may go bad. So the AgriHub now, when it is now constructed, it will solve all these problems. Firstly, you can say, when it is constructed like a place where farmers grow vegetables like kales, when it is constructed in such an area, and now, by the time the farmer will be harvesting, when there is no market demand, the farmer can take the produce to the hub for a storage. Or a farmer who is practicing dairy farming can also take his produce to this hub for storage when there is no demand in market. By doing this, we find that we solve the challenge of post-harvest losses. Again, by doing this, the Fresh Life Hub will help the farmers to increase the income. Why this is coming through? By the time the produce are in the Fresh Life Hub, they will be stored there up to that time. There will be rise in market demand. And this Fresh Life Hub may also create a linkage between the farmer and the market, or where the produce may be sold. So by doing this, we find that farmers will have increase in their income. And by doing this, there may be also job opportunities to the youths. As you know, now we have a lot of people out there, the youths that are unemployed. So by constructing this Fresh Life Hub to our rural communities, we find that youth may be employed to this. How are they getting employed? There will be people who will be there maintaining the hub. There will be people who will be assisting farmers to their produce. There will be people who will be directing the farmers on how they should be storing their produce in this hub. Again, we find that it is being powered by solar, we can also get energy from there. And we find that this energy is eco-friendly, as we know that solar system does not pollute environment. So by doing this, it solved a challenge of climate change, because instead of using diesel or fuel, the petrol that we know, there will be no greenhouse gases that will be emitted to the atmosphere. So by this way, it solved the challenge of climate change. Now again, we may find that by the time these produce are being stored in the Fresh Life Hub, there are a small fee that these farmers will be paying. So this fee, it is very affordable. It is not expensive. It is affordable to any farmer. And by providing this service fee, the fee will be used in maintaining the hub. The fee will be used by paying salaries for those who are doing the maintenance. And this fee can also be as a source of revenue, because the government may need a task from the construction site. So it also a source of revenue to the government. So by construction of this Fresh Life Hub, we find that the farmers will be having an increased income because the produce will be in the hub. By the time there will be no market, so being there, the Fresh Life Hub will create a market linkage for the farmer, and by doing this, the farmer will be able to sell his or her produce when the produce is now in demand. And again, we find that this Fresh Life Hub, it is reliable because the energy that it is using, it is you can say it is available anytime because each day we find that there is sun. So there will be no time that the Fresh Life Hub will not be working because the energy it is using, it is renewable. It is easily accessible, it is easily affordable because we have sun. We don't pay sun. So the sun, it is there. The only thing we need to buy is just a solar panel, and the fee that will be needed is also for the construction of the chamber that the produce will be stored. So it is easily affordable and cheap for the farmers that are in rural areas. Thank you.
Like I said, like I introduced myself thereafter, my name's Agwena Samuel, a second year. I'm working on a platform called the Learn to Earn CBC app. This app is going to majorly focus on CBC students, especially curriculum-based competency. So I'm the co-founder. The reason that make me to come with this particular app is by doing a research whereby I found that most of the app dealing with studies, they focus on exam revisions only. So I decided to come with this particular app to promote creativity. First of all, to focus on the 7 competencies of the base curriculum system. And the first competency is creativity and innovation. The second is self-efficacy, efficiency. The third one is digital literacy, leadership. We have citizenship. We have also collaboration and peer learning. So this My App platform is going to majorly focus on those issues and also helping students to showcase their talents and creativity and even projects. So some of the things that I majorly analyze in this app, majorly I wanted to form the platform so that it can make the work easy for parents, students, and also teachers. So I'll start by, let me start by talking much about the app. The app is going to make the CBC more enjoyable, the CBC learning more enjoyable by rewarding the students, making it interactive, and also making the CBC more practical. As you can see at this time that the education is marching forward on technology. As you can see, most of the students, they have projects, students have ideas, but they like market where they can show their talents, creativity, and projects. So my app is going to focus on that by students uploading their projects, creativity. They can do in form of videos or photos. Then we found market for their ideas. And another thing is about students. Most of the CBC students, they have limited learning resources. So my app is majorly going to focus on I'll be uploading videos on especially those of the subject that students are partaking, critical skills. I will be focusing on critical skills, collaborations, and P2P learning. Projects whereby we have a marketplace where students will going to showcase their projects. And then we'll be also having what is called, after students showcasing their marketplaces projects, we will be also looking for marketing where students can sell their projects. And once students sell their projects, they'll earn income. That is what it means by the learn to earn. Also, students will be we will be uploading videos after a student watching videos, students will tackle questions. Student after tackling questions, these questions will be grant students maybe recognition by providing them badges, points. These points will be converted into tokens, and actually after tokens will go into money. The project will have what is called M-Pesa integration for students to access all the things that I've just mentioned. The student will be required to pay maybe a fee of 50 shillings per month to access those things that I've just said. Another thing, parents nowadays, they fail to majorly focus. Like you can see CBC, it requires parents and teacher and also student collaboration. So you can see majorly parents usually don't work to CBC. Maybe, for example, schools maybe want to perform maybe a practical. They need a student maybe to take a mango. So you can see some parents see difficulties in this. But my app is going to have what is called a parent track and a teacher track. The work of a parent track and a teacher track is to ensure that teachers progress, to ensure that teachers know how a student is performing or is progressing together with the parents. The parents will get involved to ensure that they know how their daughters and sons are progressing. Another thing, challenges that we are facing, there is workload of work whereby teachers are being they are workaholic. They do a lot of things. Also, students do a lot of things. So the students don't see that learning is more impactful to them. Yeah, but as you can see, some of the students majorly usually to say, I'm doing chemistry. What is this chemistry going to help me in life? But my app come with a solution whereby students learn about entrepreneurship and financial literacy. Where this financial literacy and entrepreneurship, the student will watch a video, maybe a short clip, and this clip will majorly be created by the maybe financial teachers, some financial and literacy expertise, where this is a short video which will be uploaded. After uploaded, the student watches for some minutes. After watching that video, the student answers some questions. So this will help students to learn more about entrepreneurship, because most of the app, they majorly focus on exams solely. Apart from all those things, apart from the 7 competencies that the government wants, my app also I'm going to add about exam revision. I can see most of the students in CBC learning, they lack materials for revisions. For example, parents is required to buy maybe set books, and one set book got a cost of 400. So this parent is maybe worried. So my app is going to also solve that by ensuring that we upload, maybe for example a teacher is teaching a particular set book, we upload the video, then the questions down the video, then through answering the questions and watching the videos, earn a student badges, rewards, and also that rewards will also be turned into tokens. And another thing about my app is that the app that I want to come up with is just an idea, which you can, as you can see, is a difference from what my colleagues have just said, because theirs is dealing with agriculture, but mine is majorly focused in education, because that is the idea that I have. Despite I am an agricultural student, that is the idea that I have just much come up forward. So another problem that also CBC students faced maybe is lack of P2P learning, that is collaboration. In this CBC system, we need to make it much enjoyable and interactive. That is why my app is coming with collaborative tools, where a student from Nakuru will be able to share an idea with a student from Kisumu. They'll manage to come up with a group, and also they can also manage maybe to form a group where they do discussions. In these group discussions, teachers will be, and admin will be will be taking care of admin to ensure that positive and impactful messages are being represented there. So in this also in the part of collaboration, we'll be having a button where each and every student will be given an opportunity. Maybe if a student is a guru, he can coach others. Then after coaching others, he will earn marks. So the more you participate, the more you earn. I know because it's Learn to Earn CBC, it is much attractive according to the name of the app. And also you'll attract maybe students, because each and every student needs to make money at early age. Another thing, it will also promote well-being of the student, so that because it majorly focuses on money, I know that so much students will want to spend most of their time on app. So I've decided to come up with something known as wellness being, whereby students will be given time to handle questions, time to watch a video, and also, so that student cannot dwell much on maybe doing the app. So about the sustainability of the app, I'll involve teachers, innovative hubs, and also different schools. Thank you.
That was a wonderful presentation from our innovators. So I want us to be clear on our ideas, starting from panelist number 1 about data shared. What's your source of these sensors you say that you're going to integrate in our farms?
So the sensors, they'll be solar powered, and they're going to be run by the community, where we are going to get maybe funding from the investors, and we are going to buy the sensors, and an IT person is going to integrate the work.
In any case, do you know the affordability of these sensors? And then how many do you need? To what scale are you wanting to promote this project?
Like, we want the sensors to be everywhere around northern Kenya. We're going to put them in different pasture lands. So we are going to need like a number of them for all those counties in northern Kenya.
So talking of northern Kenya, these are pastoralists, and as we know, the literacy level in northern Kenya is relatively low. So, and you mentioned about erecting these community screens in markets and in common places. So my question is, do we really have pastoralists around these common markets?
Yes. As they are passing by, as they are moving with their animals, it is the cattle markets where they trade their cattle, is where we are going to place the screens, not in the main common markets, but the cattle markets.
Many pastoralists feed their animals in the rangelands, whereby it's a vast area of grass and sometimes dry grass during the dry season. So do they have this time to look at these screens and then focusing on the literacy levels they have?
Yes, the screens are big, they are wide, and they are different posts. So once the herder is passing, they are just going to look up and they are going to see, because it's very clear. One is indicated in red, then the places with good pasture are indicated in green. So once they see the green parts, they are going to head their cattle towards the green sides, and once they see the red ones, they are going to move away from those places that have stress.
What about this issue of security in this northern Kenya? Will these screens sustain a day in those open markets?
Yes, since we are working together with the community, we are going to give the community some knowledge and information concerning these screens, so they are going to protect them, since they are getting a lot of aid from the screens, so they will not tamper with them. And we can also get security personnel to guard the areas that have the sensors and the screens.
The northern Kenya pastoralists have their own way of knowing when and where the pasture is ready. So are you going to dismiss the fact that they rely on their own indigenous knowledge to follow the pasture lines?
So that was the traditional ways. Those were the traditional ways that they were using, and these traditional ways are leading to loss of cattle. So that's why we are coming in to bring these sensors to aid them, because they can't just know, because there's high climate change, meaning how things were in the past, they are not the same way they are right now. So they are going to need this technology so that they can improve on their livestock.
You mentioned about the pasture quality measurement using the vegetation index, that's NDVI, from the GIS perspective. So do we assume that when you are just measuring this quality of pasture, we already have the pasture in place?
Yes, it is there, because it grows naturally for the pastoralists. So we are going to put them in those places and be able to measure the current available pasture in an area.
What about the issue of overstocking? Are you going to first the farmers, the pastoralists, are they aware of whatever you're doing? Are they well informed? Do they have the education needed?
Currently, no, it's just an idea, but once we start putting the idea, we are going to give them the knowledge and information concerning all this and how they are going to go through it.
Which criteria are you going to use to put information into these farmers?
Maybe we are going to conduct campaigns, go in-person training to the pastoralists, have them classes so that they can get the information. We are going to give them training, how to read the data on the screens and how they can access the data from their mobile phones just by sending a code.
Looking at the population of these pastoralists, they are normally scattered around. It is very difficult to note. Like in your vicinity, you may fail to see your nearest neighbor. So how are you going to localize and put together all these farmers in a class, all these pastoralists in a class, and then teach them?
We can use the local chiefs, the leaders, the community leaders, and tell them on a specific day, we are coming to do this training concerning the sensors and this new technology we want to put into place. And so they are going to mobilize them and we'll be there to give them the knowledge.
What are you projecting about the intake of your idea by these pastoralists?
I think it will be positive because it will help them. It is a new technology that is coming to save them, and also it is going to increase productivity and also increase the sustainability of the pastoralism.
What about the issue of the common ignorance within our farmers, including the pastoralists?
We are going to work on that in the training. We are going to train them positively and guide them on having a positive mind into taking the idea into consideration.
Looking at the rainfall patterns in the northern Kenya, we know very well they are very minimal. It's an arid and semi-arid area. So maybe you have mapped, maybe let's say the northern Turkana County as the hotspot having the quality pasture. So this means that you are going to drive all these other pastoralists from these other areas using your map, using your community screens, and they'll be headed to this one particular point with maybe more greener pasture. So are you aware of such a problem?
Yes, that's why we are going to put the screens in different places, in different communities, so that each community can know this is our focus. This is where we focus, this is the region, the area that we are going to deal with without having to go into other communities.
Okay, maybe I repeat. This is going to bring about the issue of overcrowding, because if you inform everybody that point A is having pasture, he or she will run there. And within no time, all the cattle within the northern Kenya maybe will be concentrated in one area. And this will bring the issue of the sustainability of this pasture to hold these animals in the right time. Maybe within 1 or 2 weeks or 1 month, because of the concentration of the numbers, the pastures are going to die. So where next? How will you address such a problem?
So once in a particular area it's over, we are going to move to the next area.
So you are projecting that we are going to have so many hotspot areas in a semi-arid and arid area with green pasture.
Yes, and no.
Okay, that's enough. Our panelist number 3 about Fresh Life Agri Hub cooling system. You've talked about solar-powered cooling system. Do you have any cost implication and the scale at which we are going to implement this thing?
Okay, thank you. So for the Fresh Hub, I have a budget, and the budget is running for 2.4 M. So this is the budget. So of the solar and the battery system, it is 1.2 M. We have the refrigeration unit and the construction, which is 800,000. We have training and capacity building, that is 200,000. We have the maintenance and evaluation at 100,000. We also have maintenance, that is monitoring and evaluation at the cost of 100,000. We have maintenance at 100,000. That is the budget that amount to 2.4 million.
Looking at that budget, I can straight tell that this is a very, very small scale because the solar panels may be looking at the power output to sustain such a cooling system may be high, and the cost of one solar in Kenya, it depends the size and the watts it is going to hold. So this small scale budget of yours is going to give us a small scale cooling center. So this brings about the question of accommodation. Will it accommodate a good number of the farm produce that is going to be stored there?
Yeah, for the accommodation, it accommodates up to 100 farmers that will be storing their produce.
Okay, it's good you narrow that to maybe the tons of the produce that will be stored in there.
For the ton, so far, I can't tell the capacity or the total that it can amount to, but approximately I can say about 10 tons.
10 tons of what? Of vegetables? Because it also varies with the kind of crop or any item the farmer is going to store there. If I bring up maize, it will fill up that space very easily. But if I bring up some other vegetables which are lighter, it's going to hold in much larger quantities. So did you factor in the quantity and the type of crop that is going to be stored there?
Okay. So far, before the construction, we'll have selection of site. So what will be stored will be depend on what is mostly produced by the farmers. So if, for example, they are producing vegetables, I can approximately say like 50 tons that will be kept inside.
Okay, will you mention the specific areas where you are going to do this pilot study?
Okay, I can start by my area, that is Suba, in Homa Bay. So there is a time that there are some small scale farmers that grow tomatoes, and so one day I take a visit to a market, and I found that most of them are going through a loss. I can approximately say up to 40% loss, because they may go there every day, there's less tomatoes that are being sold. So like in our place, it can be constructed. Again, there, apart from that tomato, in our place, there are also those who are doing fishing. So fishing can also, the fisheries can also take their fish that have been harvested there also.
Somewhere you mentioned about the running cost, the maintenance cost of these cooling systems. And then there is the issue of bulkness and seasonality in the product. Because in one season, maybe, as you have said, using the tomatoes, we may have harvested about 200 tons of tomatoes from Suba only. And maybe your hub cannot accommodate that. So how prepared are you with your maintenance cost and maybe scalability to accommodate any surplus that may arise across the seasons?
So, okay, to answering that question, now the scaling may not be fixed because it can be constructed in an area, like say, the farmers around that rural area, like we say around Joro, you might find some are producing kales, some are producing tomatoes, some are also dairy farmers. So they may be in need of the storage system. So at that point I can say the scaling may not be fixed, so it can be expanded so that all farmers can also get a space to store their produce before market demand.
Again, in the storage system, did you factor in the details of each crop? Maybe if it is tomatoes, it will be needing a different cooling temperature or a cooling system other than cooling maybe some other produce like meat, the produce like fish, because some of these agricultural produce, if cooled too much, it may lose the quality and the freshness. As well, if it's not cooled to the right temperature, you will end up with also losses with your cooling system. So how do you address such issues of quality?
So the quality for the Fresh Life Hub is meant to store the good for a good quality before the market demand. So like for milk, there's a certain degrees that will require for it to be good for a certain time. So there we'll have a control unit for a certain produce. So in the chamber it might be divided, like this chamber is for vegetables, this side you can store fish, this side you can store the other produce. So there will be a control unit for that. When I brought in like vegetables, there is a control unit that you will go and put a temperature for that particular produce that is being stored at that time.
Talking about the shelf life, maybe some farm produce may have a shorter shelf life inside this cooling system as well, because there is a length of days maybe you can cool a fish. More than that, it is spoiled. So again, how are you going to curb these losses that are coming out from the cooling system also?
Okay, like I said earlier, the AgriHub also creates a linkage between a farmer and where market is needed. So by the time the produce is in the chamber, those who are at the chamber will be working out for the market for the produce that is being stored in there. So it creates a linkage between a farmer to the market.
How are you going to create this linkage?
So the linkage, like for the AgriHub, it will be working for rural cooperatives. So like we know the cooperatives help farmers to sell their produce. So we may be in a situation where the tomatoes is needed in like say in Mombasa. So the AgriHub will be looking for a market, working in the rural cooperatives to find the market so that the produce may be sold in time before it go bad.
So which one is easier, having your AgriHub as a personal entity or going and be part of these cooperatives so that you may be implementing this AgriHub as a cooperative and not as a personal entity? Why are you choosing the two differently?
Okay, the reason as to why it will be working with the rural cooperatives is to make it work efficiently. If I make it personal, maybe there will be an issue that I'll be looking at the construction cost, and I'll now say that I constructed it at a higher cost. So farmers will be saying, due to high cost of storage fee, we'll now not choose the Agri-Hub. So working with the cooperatives, we'll now see on how to charge the farmers by the time they will be storing their goods. So working with the rural cooperatives will now make it efficient for farmers also to access the Agri-Hub.
So what will determine these storage fees? Is it the quality and the quantity of the produce? Is it about whatever you did to put up, the budget you put up this hub, or what?
So the fee, before the produce is being stored, it will be weighed. So the fee will be according to the weight of the storage. It will be weighed, then taxed.
So you are going to charge storage fees as by the kgs from the farm?
Yeah.
Okay. The two of you, panelist number 1 and panelist number 2, have talked about solar panels, and many other innovators in this discussion have brought about the issue of using the solar panels. So are you aware the process that this solar panel undergoes before it comes, this solar panel, before you see that it is sustainable? Because elsewhere there are some minerals which we call rare earth minerals, which are being extracted to build up these solar panels. And the more we are going to use these solar panels, because now everybody is running into the solar panels, are we really looking back into the value chain of these solar panel before you conclude that it is sustainable? Have you looked into that? Maybe we start from panelist number 1.
Yes, we have looked into that, as they are better than using any other method, because the other methods, they are leading to release of harmful gases into the atmosphere. So we opt for the one that is way more less harmful.
Panelist number 3.
Okay, the solar, like I said, for the fresh life is eco-friendly. So when a solar is being constructed, there will be zero emission for greenhouse gases. So there will be no pollution to the environment. That's why I choose to power it using the solar, because it is a source of renewable energy also. And being a source of renewable energy, we find that in rural areas, there may be lack of electricity. So using solar energy, it will make it work efficiently without going a power shortage.
Okay, you have not answered my question, but let's move on. Panelist number 2. You talk about small-scale farmers having some problems, particularly in Nyandarua. And my question is, so do we say that the certified seeds and the recycled seeds have different tolerance to diseases and pests?
Thank you for the question, but before I answer it, allow me to credit TagDef for incubating our business. And so coming back to your question, when you talk the difference between the certified and recycled seed, we can, I will show, and I can maybe elaborate theoretically. When you talk about these recycled seeds, when someone oversprays, now, like I explained, we have something we call PHI, that is post-harvest intervals. When someone says, like, spray at this rate, say 30 mLs per 20 liters, say, Mancozeb example, because we are dealing with, say, the late and early bright. So when they tell you 30 milliliters, ml per 20 liters pump, and you go ahead and spray, say, that is 60, you go times 2, but you retain the post-harvest interval. So meaning these chemicals, residues, will go again to the to these seeds. So when these farmers continue recycling within themselves without now renewing these seeds, you'll find that number one, they are very vulnerable because we talk about rejuvenation or something, say, the production, because now we are talking about vulnerability to this disease, to the diseases. So when it is more used, and now when you talk about the stages of these potatoes, because we can say in potatoes we start with mini tubers. We start with apical cuttings. We go to mini tubers. Then we go to pre-basic, basic, C1, then go all the way to 100. So you find these farmers, maybe during the 1990s, example, is when they started planting, say, example, Shangi, which is very common. So you find that due to the recycling, you'll find it is C100. What tells you about it? So this seed, you'll find it, and being a native in this region, I'm saying from my own personal experience. So you'll find now these seeds, they require more spraying, like I told you. When I asked or interviewed those 21 farmers in the bazaar, these women, they openly admitted to this question, and they said, yeah, true. These seeds, they are very vulnerable to these diseases. But when we include the certified seeds, they'll be very much productive, and again, they'll be now somehow resilient to diseases because of, they.
So how do we get first-hand seeds, in quotes, the certified seeds? Are they not from these seeds that grew last year? How do we produce new seeds?
Okay, like I told you, now we have these stages of the potato seeds. Like we start with the mini tubers, so that we can obtain these certified seeds. Like we have the levels. So if you can go and search, we have where it starts maybe in the tissue culture. They go and get these seeds. Now they not go to this the recycled one. They get from the labs. Like I told you, we have the NPCK, National Potato Council of Kenya, and again, Egerton itself, they produce. So you see, there are some individuals, rather, that are starting to be incubated in the production of the apical cuttings, because for you to get these certified seeds, they have to go through these stages. Like number one, I said, we start with the tissue culture to obtain the apical cuttings. Then from there, we have mini tubers. Then we have pre-basic, basic. Then from that point, from the pre-basic and basic is where we have the certified seeds, all going to C1. That's where, like, when you have planted maybe 3-4 cycles, now you can buy another certified seeds now from us. Thank you.
So what's the issue of using a C100 seed and the marketability of these? Is the consumption the same in terms of the quality of these?
Yeah, the quality is very different, and bearing in mind, the reason now we started by saying when we talk about the C100 and when we have these certified seeds, there is a very great variation, because when you're talking about the quality, number one, they must meet the standards. And when we go to the market, you'll see for the quality, for things to be, that's why we have the KEBS. Now, when even the reason the issue we raised about the Egerton doing that test, we saw that there was this issue of health. Now you see that due to this recycled issue and now having this pigment in the seeds, is which brings about the diseases. So it's very true and correct to say so.
So using these certified seeds and the production value chain from the maybe sourcing the cells, maybe the cuttings and everything else in the labs, does this bring about the demand and supply issue whereby maybe all the farmers in Nyandarua in one season need seeds which maybe the Egerton labs cannot produce to meet the demand in the farmers?
Okay, so if you can ask me, when you talk about now the availability, or rather the supply, it's never short or outdone, because we don't have one supplier like we said. Now, example, we may have National Potato Council of Kenya, and again, we have something to do with Egerton. So you find when they produce this, the apical cuttings, for each apical cutting, it produces maybe around 15 tubers. So when you go and multiply, it's now they do the story we talk about seed multiplication. So by multiplying these seeds, it's like planting these the mini tubers. After they produce those the tubers, they replant those tubers until they get to the C1. So when until they get to the pre-basic. What do I mean by this? So when you get from mini tubers, then you go to pre-basic and basic. You see these are 3 levels. So if you continue multiplying, they continue because they are number one. Like we said, the production is very high, unlike the C100. So we can never get to a position where we say that the distributors, or rather the suppliers, they are in short.
So what about the issue of information dissemination, whereby you've talked about seed sourcing, the quality, maybe the quantity and the use of chemicals, maybe in the right way, because some farmers may lack the information of how to use such pesticides. How are you going to deal with this issue of disseminating the information?
Thank you very much. So in the dissemination part, like I said, let me clarify on the digital registration system and SMS. So this is the heart of this organization, and it is what it is from this system which makes this organization to stand out and be somehow unique. So when we come to the story of information, and again this chemical, the story of teaching these farmers. When you have this system, number one, it will help. Like when a farmer wants to buy from us now, we'll go and ask, when are you anticipating to plant? So to the system, the IT guy will be provided the details. Like I told you, my team includes or involves ICT guy. We have agronomists, and again we have climate specialists. So from the collaboration of the team and from the way they conduct the issue, now when the agronomist now goes and gets the information, they'll go now and inform the ICT guy. So the ICT guy will go ahead and now text a message to these farmers. So example, let's say this farmer today have come and purchased seeds. Now we'll ask the farmer, when are you anticipating to plant your seeds? And then he or she states maybe tomorrow. So the ICT guy will go and enter the details and say, in the system, they know to do their thing because it's their field. So when they talk about, when they fill that system, it will now count maybe, let's say 2 weeks. After 2 weeks is when the seeds will now rejuvenate. Thank you.
So again, we go back to the use of chemicals. We know as well that the farmers normally use the locally available chemicals, and maybe in our Kenyan markets, the only available chemicals are those harmful chemicals. And I say in quotes, the only available, because how are you going to deal with this problem whereby this farmer has no choice other than to use this available harmful pesticide or chemical?
Thank you. So as an entrepreneur, the reason for I creating this organization is because I have the information, but the farmers don't. So example, like I said, the mancozeb is the active agent in the protective sector of the early blight. But now, when you come to the farmer, they don't know about the active agent. All they know is the trade name. So you hear some farmers talking about certain herbicide, or sorry, the pesticide. But now, they don't know the ingredient behind it. So from my knowledge and from collaboration with other pesticide organization, I'll be able now to introduce to them, and using now the core system, which we said the digital registration, will send them the trade name for this pesticide, because I can't go ahead and introduce to them about the active agents.
We talk about the middleman exploitation. So when do we say somebody has been exploited and he or she agreed to take in the price that he or she was given from the market?
Thank you. So every time and from everyone's experience, they have been exploited at some point. The reason we talk about exploitation is like my brother here talked about the issue of storage. So you'll find that Shangi, like we talked about, when you come to potatoes, we have two stages. We classify them into two. So we have processing and we have table. When we talk about processing, it's those potatoes which have lower water content. But when we talk about the table, there are those that have higher water content. What we know about the water is that they reduce the shelf life. So by this, it's from everyone's knowledge, we know that if you store potatoes, that is the table potatoes, which is Shangi, Unica, or Wanjiku, Stephen, name them. When you store them, you'll find that they have a lower shelf life. And by this, you find because the farmers, they are small scale, they are small holders, number one. So when the middlemen come.
Okay, can you explain the exploitation part?
Okay, thank you. That's where I was coming in. Sorry. So I was about to talk from the background of the exploitation where it comes in, but sorry if I over-narrated. So by the exploitation, rather from the middlemen, you'd find that in the markets, you find that, like I said, there's no information to the farmers. So when this middleman comes in, they have the source, or rather, they have the consumers. But when you come to these farmers, they don't have the markets. So that's why the middlemen come and rule the prices. Because let's say, if a farmer, one bag runs for 3,000 Kenya shillings. But now the middleman comes in and say, this bag runs for 1,000 Kenya shillings. You don't have the power to change or overthrow the middleman because you have nowhere to sell your products.
So you and your foundation, how are you going to help these farmers from exploitation?
Yeah, again, through this digital registration system is where, because we know the potatoes grow with a range of 3 to 4 months. So in the second month, rather within the middle of the second month, that's why we'll now be searching for the markets and knowing the prices. So from this, we'll be able to tell them the prices. And again, when you talked about how we'll help them from exploitation, we'll provide for the aggregate hubs to collect their produce and now sell them. Yeah.
Panelist number 4, what's your end goal of your Learn to Earn CBE program and not CBC? Yeah, the government changed it.
Pardon, please.
What is your end goal of your project of Learn to Earn?
So thank you for the question. So my end goal for the Learn to Earn app is to promote literacy in education. For example, as you know, so many of students do graduate, but after graduation there is lack of employment. But due to the innovative and creativity of the apps that apply, that will promote also to the student, it will enable students to come up with projects and also idea which will help them to create to themselves employment. Thank you.
We know kids and phones or maybe the digital gadgets have some aspect of what we call addiction and maybe consuming other content like cartoons and not your content. So how are you going to ensure that these kids are not going to be addicted to these gadgets? And then number 2, the issue of enjoyability and engagement using this platform of yours.
Okay, thank you. Under the issue of students not to be maybe affected or tampered by other things, the app will majorly focus on education, and the app is going to be enjoyable because and interactive because of the P2P learning, whereby a Kisumu student and maybe, for example, a Kisumu student and a Nakuru student. For example, a Kisumu student at knows something about an idea which cannot work in Kisumu but can do best in Nakuru. So they can collaborate with the Kisumu student to come up maybe. So they can have what is called networking.
So this Kisumu guy and the Nakuru guy, how are you going to ensure that they are focused in that thing and there is no boredom over time?
They are going to focus because it is going to be managed by also teachers. They are going to be guided by their own school teachers, and also admin is going to take note on that.
The struggle of providing resources to the CBE curriculum has been a challenge to the Kenya government and to the parents at large. So how are you going to address this issue of getting these gadgets and maybe any other resources that these kids may need so that they can engage fully in your platform?
Okay, thank you for the question. About the resources, maybe you can know, we want to promote education quality, and as you know, majorly, as I know that the urban students usually get education quality compared to the rural students. For example, maybe the rural students, they lack, especially they are going to lack maybe these gadgets, but because I know parents they have smartphones, so they are going to use their parents. They are going to use their parents' smartphone. Because also the app is going to work together with the school, so that even students can also access gadgets in schools. Those students who cannot access gadgets at home, they can also access gadgets at schools.
Are you not promoting disparity among these social classes, whereby maybe the middle and upper classes with the gadgets are going to benefit more than the rural and local students?
So especially because it is an idea which I'm going to start. So we are going majorly we are going to focus on starting from the upper. For example, CBC it has been divided into different bases. We have the grades, the secondaries and the primaries. So especially I'm going to focus for the grade 7 and 9 and 6 and 8.
You talk about selling the ideas of these kids once they maybe develop them, engage them on this platform. So why sell an idea of a kid without his or her consent? Or what's your end goal of this?
So the app will not sell the idea of an individual student, but the work of the app about showcasing, student majorly face different challenges, whereby, as now we know, so many of the apps, like we have this app in Agita, VAB CBC app. It was being formed by the co-founder known as Honorable Kipkorir. Majorly it focuses on teachers peke yake. They have not included students. They make the work of the teachers be easy. So according to the question that you have just asked, so the app about showcasing the student ideas. So it will not sell the ideas, but it will sell what is called creativity. About the idea of us. Maybe for example, me, I have idea. So we know that this idea, it is so impactful maybe to the community and even to the world. They need this particular idea. So the work that we're going to do is to nurture, maybe the way you are nurturing me now and giving that particular student maybe mentorship. But for maybe a student, because we're going to upload, then the student gets skills on how to make, maybe, for example, a student make something like a basket. He doesn't know where is going to sell this basket. So those are things that we're going to sell and maybe transfer the money to students.
Quickly to all the panelists, the question about the barrier of entry into your innovation and maybe scaling your idea, maybe in the shortest time. What can you say about the barrier of entry and maybe acceptance? We start from panelist number 1.
So the barrier to entry is lack of funds. So there is we don't have funds at the moment. So once we get the funds, we can start maybe collecting data and putting the idea into practice.
So the barrier, is it high or low?
It is high.
Okay, panelist number 2.
The barrier for organization is about scalability. For the, like you said, about the digital registry system and SMS. So the grants, maybe, or collaboration with the COILIB would make the scalability of this department maybe better.
Panelist number 3.
Okay, thank you once again. So the barrier to my idea is just funds and technical support.
Panelist number 4.
So the barrier also to my project is that funds and also ICT technology. But once I get funds, I'm going to start the project by starting small, where I'll do pilot with maybe 2 schools to see whether the project is workable.
Thank you for the great discussion about your innovations. It's been quite a deep conversation, and maybe I may have touched in all the questions that my audience may be having. So wrapping up this session, I could say that some of us lack some important skills and maybe identifying the pain points which are urgent to the society, which can be scaled, and then maybe the root cause. Many of us are just addressing the symptoms and not the root cause of anything we are discussing about innovation. So an innovation has to look into the root cause of something, because if you just address the symptom, at the end of the day, then you have not achieved anything. You are going to do what we call a walkover. You are walking over the problem, and maybe the problem underneath will always come up. It's like cutting grass by the node and leaving the roots. It will always come out. So to my audience, I will urge you that as we move on with this challenge, please make sure that you go deeper into the root cause of whatever you are going to achieve as an innovator. So from here, we have a mentorship session that will be coming along as we finish from the other faculties. I will then call upon everyone else to be clear, at least have your innovation in paperwork, so that it is easier for us to work together, because coming up with an idea without a concept note or what we call a proposal, just a rough idea written somewhere, it is hard, because from here you may forget you had an idea in your mind. So I will urge you to work along that. Our today's session will not have the question session because time is not that much on our side. We have some other engagement from our hosting team. That's why we have to cut this story short, and then we can engage more behind the camera. So thank you for coming today, and thank you for showing up. I will need you next time. Thank you, everybody.
We hustle.
We go through.
Access granted.
We win.
We lose.
Access denied. Access denied. Access denied.
In everything, we dust ourselves.
We are the majority.
You want to tell me just what we're dealing with here?
If you haven't guessed by now, I'll tell you who we are.
It's me. Hi.
We are the empowered youth.
On air, underground.
And this is our podcast, the EY Podcast.
Turn it up. Let the speakers move. Go.